10% discretionary service charge being added onto your bill every time you go out for a few drinks or a hotel meal, as it happened to me last week. And a well-known Belfast bar I was into decided they would just add on 10% service charge for going up to the bar and getting my own drinks.
What? It was on your drinks?
Yes, I'm telling you, this is... Look out for it. It's everywhere now.
Okay, no, I wouldn't be okay with, like, that's not on drinks, because drinks are dear enough.
Drinks.
Have you gone out for a drink in Belfast? Like, it is dear.
I have. I'm telling you.
I thought you were talking about...
No.
Whenever you said about this, I thought you meant on food bills. I understand it on a food bill, but... A drink? Are you joking?
It's happened to me on drinks, and not even drinks they've brought to the table, drinks at the bar. And by the way, I'm not against giving tips, because I know what people are going to say, oh, he's miserable and those people don't earn very much. I am not. I'm very generous. Ask anybody, right, when it comes, especially if they're bringing
if you had a few drinks in.
They're bringing me food and drinks, and I've had a few drinks, you know. Absolutely. I will pay and tip well for good service. But I do want to address a couple of things about this, okay? First and foremost, this is not America, right?
Yeah.
Let's stop thinking we're America here, where you can just lob on a tip onto the bill, the receipt, they call it a check there, which you must pay, by the way, in the States. It's 20% there now, by the way.
It's wild.
Used to be 10%. That's how it started. Then it went to 15. It's now 20%. And even in America now, after they take the 20% off you, they also ask for a thing now called added gratuity, where you can give them even more. Many times, it's also not been made clear that this fee is being added to your receipt. So do check if you're heading out and about, because you can ask for it to take it off. It is discretionary if you notice it. And they should tell you, or should have signs, but they don't always. So it's just something to look out for. But here's what I want to say, and this is perhaps worst of all about this. Is this some way that establishments are going to try to make things sweeter for their employers? And I worry if that is the case, this could actually end up being a bit of a false economy, and I'll explain why. Firstly, your staff deserve to be paid a good fair wage
100%
for doing a good job. They shouldn't need
and they do deserve tips, and they deserve to have those, good tips.
But they shouldn't be forced into this position if they end up relying on their tips to make a living. This is exactly like America, and they're going down this road. You can set this dangerous precedent here, where companies pay the bare minimum. Instead, they dangle this...
And then they put the onus on us.
Yeah, so they dangle this card of service charges as a way to entice staff to work for them. Now, that's fine on the days the tips are good.
Yeah.
But if anyone who's ever worked in the service industry will know, many of the days the tips are non-existent.
And especially when things, like you say, are getting more and more expensive, people are maybe going out less.
I'll explain the scenario that happened to me last week and why I think this actually could be counterproductive. So I went to tip the girl £10 after a family meal in a hotel. She kindly explained to me the service charge had already been taken into account and I'd already paid for that, which was around £6.50. Now, I thanked her for letting me know this, but in this instance, what had actually happened by them automatically adding the service charge resulted in her receiving less than what I would have voluntarily tipped myself if given the choice. Do you agree with this discretionary service charge being added onto your bill? Would you be embarrassed or feel mean by asking for it to be removed?
Yes.
And I think a lot of people here would be. I would be.
I can barely send food back if something's wrong. Like I don't know what it is, but
you'd eat the meal with the fly on it, Kat.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you think this is a good way for the hospitality workers to up their wages, and for bars and restaurants maybe to hang on to their staff longer? That's the other way of looking at it. Or would you rather, like me, just leave your tip rather than having this kind of enforced standard 10% being added to your bill, which could actually, as I think it did in my case, result in the person actually receiving a smaller tip if their service has been really good and if the customer has been really generous?